Some stories stay with you not because they're extraordinary, but because they could happen to any of us. Today's story is one of them. It's about regret, about trust, about what happens when silence becomes a weapon. Daniel Mitchell. Before we begin, if stories like this speak to you, take a second to support the channel. A like, a comment, or a simple subscription helps more than you know. And now, let me tell you what happened. Her name was Mara, and we were together for nearly a decade. The kind of relationship that starts in your 20s and becomes the rhythm of your life. I thought we were forever, or at least I let myself believe that. But if there's one thing I've learned in this life, it's that you can love someone deeply and still break them. I met Lena at work. It wasn't love, it wasn't passion. It was curiosity. A moment of weakness, or perhaps a long chain of ignored dissatisfaction that turned into one irreversible mistake. What started as a conversation turned into a drink, and what was a drink became a secret I swore I'd never let see the light. But secrets have weight, and they always find a way to surface. I never told Mara about Lena. I didn't get the chance. She found out, somehow. I came home one evening to find my belongings packed and dropped off at my parents' porch. No note, no confrontation, no screaming match, just absence. She vanished from my life like a door slamming in the middle of a storm. I tried everything, called her friends, messaged her sister, sent long confessions pouring out every ounce of regret I had. I wrote emails at 2 a.m., telling her how I'd destroyed something beautiful and would spend the rest of my life trying to fix it. But the silence that came back was louder than any words could have been. Lena saw all those messages. Of course she did. I didn't hide them well. It wasn't easy for her, especially early on. But then she told me she was pregnant. That shifted everything. Suddenly, regret had no place. We had a future to prepare for. Or at least that's what I convinced myself. I pushed Mara out of my mind and leaned into the new life unfolding. I told myself I was doing the right thing, that I was building something better, that the best apology was change. We moved in together. We started choosing names. I painted a nursery wall with trembling hands, not knowing if I was a coward or a father. Months passed. Lena's belly grew. The chaos quieted. We weren't perfect, but we were steady. I stayed loyal, attentive, involved. A far cry from the man who had once ruined everything for a moment's comfort. I didn't speak of Mara. I didn't allow myself to even think of her. Until she reappeared. It was late September when I ran into her. A small bookstore on a rainy Saturday. I was reaching for a paperback, something I wasn't really going to read. When she walked by behind me, I recognized the scent before the voice. She greeted me softly, like someone might greet an old ghost. We talked, briefly, politely. She didn't smile. She told me she had something of mine, a keychain my grandfather gave me when I was a boy. It wasn't worth anything except sentiment, a piece of my childhood. She said she'd found it months ago and had been holding on to it. Then she said something odd. "You can come get it next Saturday, or I'll toss it." I hesitated. Lena was due to give birth that same week. But Mara's tone left no room for negotiation. It was one of those strange ultimatums that doesn't sound cruel, but carries venom if you say no. I agreed. Told her I'd swing by in the morning before heading to the hospital, assuming nothing had happened yet. And that's where the unraveling began. The morning I was supposed to visit Mara, Lena was still in bed, groggy and uncomfortable. She'd been having mild contractions off and on, but nothing consistent. Our son wasn't quite ready to come into the world, and the hospital told us to wait. So I took the car and drove across town to that familiar house, the one that used to be our house. The streets were wet from rain, and the air had that cold stillness of early morning. I parked out front, heart tight in my chest. I wasn't sure what I was expecting. Just grab the keychain and leave? Maybe a moment of shared nostalgia? A final nod before truly closing the chapter? When she opened the door, Mara looked calm, unreadable. She let me in without a word and gestured toward the kitchen table where the keychain lay. But she didn't hand it to me. Instead, she sat down and said, "Sit with me, just for a few minutes." And like a fool, I did. We talked, cautiously at first, then more freely, about the years we spent together, the places we used to go, the stupid arguments that seemed so big back then. She asked about my parents. I asked about her work. It felt strange, like two actors reading lines from a play they used to know by heart. Then it got heavier. She asked if I'd loved her. I said yes, without hesitation. She asked if I regretted what I did. Again, yes. She looked me in the eye and said, "That's all I ever needed to hear." There was silence after that. A long, quiet moment where I felt something shift, not between us, but inside me, like a weight had been removed, like I could finally breathe. When I stood up to leave, she followed me to the door. I thanked her for the keychain, for the conversation, for not hating me. She stepped forward and hugged me. I hugged back. It wasn't romantic, it wasn't passionate, it was human. An exhale of shared pain. But it lasted just a moment too long. Just enough for something to feel. Recorded. I didn't notice the small, blinking camera mounted above the door, the way her body was angled, the fact that she stepped back first, brushing her hand against my shoulder as if to say, "There, it's done." I said goodbye and left. The whole visit took maybe 45 minutes. I drove to the hospital with the keychain in my pocket and a strange lightness in my chest. I was ready to meet my son again, ready to be the man I needed to be. I never made it past the reception desk. The nurse glanced at my name, then frowned. She typed something on her computer and stood up. A moment later, a security guard approached. He asked me to step aside. When I tried to explain that my partner had just given birth, he told me, flatly, that I no longer had access to the room. I didn't understand. I kept asking questions, raising my voice. I demanded to speak with Lena, but she wouldn't come. They called it a disturbance and had me escorted out of the building. I was furious, confused, scared. I sat in my car, fists clenched around the steering wheel, trying to make sense of what had just happened. That's when I got the message. It wasn't from Lena. It was from an unknown number, just a video sent as a screen recording. The footage was from a doorbell cam, mine and Mara's. It showed me arriving at her house at 9:30 a.m. It showed me walking in, and it showed me leaving at 10:15 a.m. The hug at the end? Caught halfway. Just enough to make it look like something more. And then came the message, typed beneath the clip. "Did he even bother to shower before holding your newborn? Congratulations. He's your problem now." No signature. But I didn't need one. I knew exactly who sent it. Mara had waited almost a year, said nothing, watched from afar, and then struck at the one moment I was most vulnerable, the day I was supposed to become a father again. There are moments when your life doesn't just fall apart. It gets rewritten. And the cruelest thing is, people won't ask for your side of the story. They'll simply believe the version that hurts the most. Daniel Mitchell. I must have watched that video a dozen times, trying to see what they saw, trying to convince myself that the hug didn't look romantic, that it wasn't that long, that maybe, just maybe, Lena would see it for what it was, a goodbye, a human moment. But I knew better. I tried calling her, over and over, straight to voicemail. I called her mother, her sister. No one picked up. Finally, I got one reply, a text message, not even from Lena, but from her mother. Just a single sentence. "You need to give her space now." I sat in that car for hours, not knowing whether my son was okay, whether Lena was okay, whether any of this could be salvaged. Later that night, I tried again. I wrote Lena a message, long, honest, full of regret but also explanation. I told her everything. That I had gone to Mara's just to get the keychain, that we talked, that I apologized, that I hugged her and walked away, that it meant nothing. She didn't reply. Instead, I got another message. This one, from Mara. Somehow my number wasn't blocked anymore, just long enough for one last twist of the knife. You deleted everything, didn't you? Thought you could start fresh. Thought the past couldn't touch you. You really believed I'd let you walk away clean. Then she blocked me again. I sat on the edge of my bed that night staring at the darkness and realized I had no way to prove anything. No messages, no screenshots, no recordings. Just my word. And my word didn't mean much anymore. Lena didn't want to hear from me. She told the hospital staff to restrict my access. Legal rights or not, emotional damage takes precedence when a mother feels threatened. I hadn't held my son in over a week. I'd only seen him once, minutes after he was born, before this all came crashing down. I reached out to the few friends I had left. One of them replied with a single sentence, "You should have stayed away from her." Another simply unfollowed me the next morning. Even my mother, my own mother, looked at me with eyes full of disappointment when I came by to explain. She didn't yell. She didn't even raise her voice. She just asked, "Why would you go back there, James? After everything you did, after everything you said you learned." She didn't believe me either. She thought I had ruined my last chance at a decent life. It's strange how fast silence becomes your only company. I stopped checking my phone. Stopped waiting for messages that never came. I went back to work, the same way people return to a burnt house, not to live in it, just to collect what's left. Each day was heavier than the last. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating properly. I walked around with the keychain in my jacket pocket, rubbing my thumb over its surface like it was some kind of talisman, as if the truth were etched into its metal. It's just a piece of metal. It can't save you from anything. I considered going to Mara's again, not to argue, not to plead, just to understand. But I didn't, because deep down, I knew she wouldn't answer the door. Or worse, she would and smile and say, "You brought this on yourself." Maybe she'd be right. I betrayed her once. She betrayed me back, more quietly, more patiently, and far more effectively. Her revenge wasn't loud, it was surgical, and it worked. Some betrayals are loud, others are so quiet they echo for years. But the worst kind? The ones that look like justice, only colder. Daniel Mitchell. It's been 3 months now. 3 months since I last saw my son. 3 months since Lena looked at me with anything other than disgust. 3 months since Mara said my name. I've hired a lawyer. We've filed the initial paperwork. I know it'll take months, maybe years, before I get proper visitation. Family court moves slowly, and sympathy moves even slower when you're the man in the story who cheated. There are no points for regret in these situations. No extra credit for realizing your mistakes too late. I'm just another guy who threw away a good woman, started a new family, and then found a way to screw that up too. At least, that's the version everyone believes. I walk past the mirror sometimes and barely recognize myself. Not because I've aged, though I have, but because my eyes look hollow, like I'm watching my own life from outside of it, like I'm already gone, just waiting for the body to catch up. And you know what hurts the most? It's not the betrayal, not even the revenge. It's that no one, not a single person, stopped to ask what really happened. No one said, "That doesn't sound like you." No one asked, "Are you okay?" Because once you've hurt someone, even once, the world remembers you for that hurt. It becomes your name, your reputation, your shadow. And shadows are easy to hate. Some nights I think about messaging Mara again, just one more time, just to ask her why. Not what she did. I know what she did. But why? Why now? Why that way? But then I think, maybe I don't want to hear the answer. Because maybe the answer is simple. Maybe it's because I could. She waited almost a year, stayed silent. Let me build a life, find a rhythm, feel peace, just to snap it in half with a single text message. And the worst part? She didn't need to lie. She didn't fabricate anything. She just showed the truth in the most misleading way possible. She let people's imaginations do the rest. She played the long game, and I never saw it coming. Now, I sit with the aftermath, the distance, the silence, the legal bills, the constant ache of wondering if my son will know me, or only hear stories about the man who left. He cheated on her, lied to her, then tried to crawl back. Typical. He saw his ex while his new girlfriend was giving birth. What kind of person does that? She was right to cut him off. He deserved it. They don't know me. But those are the voices I hear every time I open a door, or scroll through my phone, or try to sleep. Sometimes I wonder if I'd have been better off just leaving. Starting over somewhere far away, with a new name and a clean slate. But then I remember, my son is here. My story may be twisted, misunderstood, even hated. But he's the one person who might one day ask for my version. And when he does, I want to be here to tell it. Even if no one else believes me. Even if it takes years. Even if I only get 5 minutes a week. I'll show up. Because that's what fathers do. Or at least, what they should do. We all make mistakes. Some are forgivable. Others echo for a lifetime. But revenge. Revenge doesn't heal wounds. It buries them deeper. And when you bury something long enough one day, it claws its way back. Daniel Mitchell. If this story resonated with you, leave a like, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and tell me in the comments what you took from it. And if you'd like to hear more, subscribe. I'll be here. See you in the next one.